Hello, everyone. My name is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics in Spain. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of independent comic book creators. So please, all right, maybe it's you. All right, there you go. Introduce yourself.
That's how you start a fucking show, baby. That's how you fucking
Exactly.
do it. That's
Exactly.
how
That's it.
you fucking
Just come in from the mist. Go.
do it. I
All
don't
right.
know whose service is shoddy here in New York City, right? But it's hot as fucking balls, right? We're out here boiling the bag, and probably frying the goddamn internet services as well. What's going on? I am Dee Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been making books since 2008, hanging out with this guy, talking to a bunch of talented creators. And I know Calderon got one hell of a list. So let's bring him on out, brother.
All right. First up, Dirk.
Hi everyone. I'm not really sure actually like how I should be introducing myself.
It's perfect.
Okay, just hi.
Just let everybody know, I guess what book you're putting out, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm working on a book. Actually, the first issue is entirely finished. We're just doing a Kickstarter right now to get a print edition going. It's called Scratch. It's a nice kaiju comic. If anyone likes kaiju books. And lots of weirdness, basically.
Very nice. Very nice. Sean.
Oh, hello. Hi, guys. My name is Sean Ellis, and I'm based here in Tokyo, Koenji, Tokyo, and is my hometown, I guess. And I'm the writer and co-creator of Dose Comics, and we're currently having an Kickstarter right now.
All right, cool.
No, oh, good.
Justin, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm good. I'm Weird Short Comics. I'm basically here to round out the panel. I don't really have anything going on right now, but might soon. So I wrote SWAT, wrote Department of God. We're looking to maybe get that going into a Kickstarter soon. And then Edge of Darkness will be the other project that I might have this much recognition for. So yeah.
All right, cool. Chris.
Hi,
How are
I'm
you?
Chris Brimmage. I'm the author of the comedic science fiction series The Multiverse Askew, as well as Mandrill PI, which is about a primate private detective in a cartoon universe who solves supernatural and occult mysteries. So kind of like Hellboy meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And I'm currently running a Kickstarter for issue number 7 on that comic.
Nice.
Cool. Matt, how you doing, brother?
Hey, good. How are you?
So,
Yeah, so I'm Matt McGrath. I'm comic writer from Toronto. And yeah, I'm running a Kickstarter right now for a graphic novel called A Journey into the Abyss. So yeah, I wrote it, and Marissa Mayhew is the illustrator on it. And it is my sequel to a 120-year-old film called A Trip to the Moon by a filmmaker called Georges Méliès.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, even if you don't know it, you probably know the movie. It's the one with the moon, and it gets hit with a rocket in the eye. So
Yep.
It's playing in that sandbox.
Very cool.
very nice. Very nice. All right, gentlemen, I'm pretty sure you've seen the show question, and I'm sure some of you are either like, "Oh, that's a silly, simple question," or, you know, right? So the question is, heroes and villains. Who's your greatest hero and villain in indie comics? Now, listen, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to answer first. The reason being is that I want to show as an example what I meant by this question. All
You
right?
just don't want anybody to take your answer. That's what.
No, because I know you certainly wouldn't.
That's true.
But so my greatest hero in indie comics is Dave Sim. Okay, at least before he lost his mind. And the reason for that is that what he's contributed to indie comics before that point, he was a huge advocate for people to self-publish, and that was a huge thing that he was very much into. And I mean, and at one point, Cerebus was selling, I believe, 50,000 copies per month, and that happened for years. And we've all seen it. I think his even bigger contribution is the phone book. Um, Before anybody else did it, Dave Sim was doing it, right? Omnibuses, compendiums, whatever you want to call them, they all have that little genetic sprout coming out of Dave Sim's phone books. And as far as my villains, there's three of them, and they all comprise one thing. It's Diamond, Image, and Marvel Comics. Now, the reason I say that is because Marvel Comics caused the collapse of the distribution system in the 90s. Okay? What that one act consolidated everything that happened, all the distribution down to Diamond. So it gave them it allowed them to be the one single entity that we have for distribution. Now, I say Image Comics because they made a decision at that point. We could have still had Capital City and Diamond. They ended up choosing Diamond, which shut Capital City down. Right? Capital City was an incredible distributor. If they would have had Image, probably Fantagraphics, and a few of the other smaller publishers, they would have been able to survive. But without them, but I understand that Image, they had their own reasons financially. Obviously, they wanted to make as much money for themselves as they can. I get it. And the second time around, Image, because they decided to leave Diamond a second time around with this go around, causing its total collapse this time around, which has totally thrown the entire industry in a insane loop as far as like what's going on through retail. So there you go. That's why I wanted to answer it, because I didn't just want to hear, oh, Hellboy's my favorite hero, and, and some other, Argent is my favorite indie villain or something. Just to give it some thought, I know it's it's a little crazy there, but and I hate to do this to you, Matt, but you are in the hot seat.
Okay, yeah. I was sitting here thinking, hoping I was going to go last and I'd be able to think of somebody.
No,
but
it's last man in, first
reverse
man asks
order.
the question.
Oh man. Okay. Hero. I don't know. Like first person that comes to my mind is Robert Kirkman. And I'm like a moderate fan of his comics. I'm not a huge Robert Kirkman fan. Like I like The Walking Dead, Invincible, and all that. But I remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he wrote this manifesto basically encouraging everybody to kind of, throw off the shackles of work for hire comics, specifically Marvel, DC. Because I remember he worked on Marvel for a little bit, but I guess had a bad time there. And yeah, like he wrote a short manifesto just being, if the industry is going to survive, more and more people have to create their own stuff, work with either self-publish or work with creator-owned publishers like Image or Dark Horse or what have you. And yeah, he's kind of lived true to that. I guess, like, technically he's doing a work for hire book right now with Transformers, but up until that point, like, he was doing his own stuff. So yeah, for that reason, I kind of agree. I mostly agree with him. Like I have at the moment no real ambitions. Not that anybody wants me to write Spider-Man or anything, but I'm very happy to just do my own thing and make my own stuff.
Listen, if you're gonna write a comic book based off of the film that you said, I'd probably rather read your Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got some Spider-Man pictures of me, so I won't say no if they come enough.
Because I think it would be more offbeat than what we're getting, and more original and more unique. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. Villain, man, I don't know. I mean, to some, Dave Sim would be a villain. Kind of like you said, he kind of lost his mind. Maybe halfway through Cerebus or something, or 3/4 of the way.
True.
Yeah, I don't know what he's up to now.
He's still publishing.
Yeah, he
He's doing
is.
his thing. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's doing his thing. Yeah, he has a very hardcore, small, well, 5 or 6 thousand fans that still follow him. So
yeah.
That's
It's pretty.
enough.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is enough.
we should have that.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I had that too.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, Matt. Sean, what are
Oh,
your thoughts?
hi guys. Yeah, that's an interesting question, and I don't know if I have a great answer. But just some of these old school guys, maybe Will Eisner or Jack Kirby, who maybe weren't totally associated with indie comics, but still had maybe, as we might say, the indie comic spirit. Wanting to move towards ownership of characters, or uh, you know, Eisner seemed to have kept the spirit with him and maybe owned the spirit.
Yeah.
And Kirby maybe towards the end of his career was doing some indie comics, but he was sort of uh, fighting against the system, so to speak. And both of those guys had what we might say the indie comic spirit, and sort of maybe paved the way for indie comics before like indie comics really existed. I would say are maybe some of the heroes. Not a great answer, but I think, or maybe guys like Bud Plant, or guys who are sort of into underground comics in the 70s, or the guys who opened the first comic book shops, had that indie spirit as well.
Nice.
And villains, I don't know. I've seen some, and I'm not gonna name names or anything, but I've seen some mean spiritedness in indie comics, and sort of beefing with other indie comics creators, or giving guys a hard time. Which I don't know if that, I don't know if that's villainous behavior or not, but it's certainly negative, and stuff that I don't want to participate in.
Mhm.
So that
No,
might
no.
be an answer.
Yep, that's fair. Thank you, Sean.
My
Justin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, for me, I guess this is kind of boring, but I was shocked by how many scammers there are in the like comics community. Where I mean, I had very limited. Well, I mean, I was just doing basically these podcasts and on Facebook, and I was getting hit up constantly by people that were clearly, you know, bullshitting. I've gotten to the point where if anybody uses the word kindly, I just assume they're a scammer at this point. Like it's just wherever they pick up that word somewhere and they just drop it all the time. It's big. It's a big red flag for me. I don't know. But
Did you
I mean,
did you say kindly?
yeah, watch out for that. If somebody messages you on Facebook and they open with kindly, they're a fucking scammer. I promise.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to kindly show you some of my art walk. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been my experience. But I mean, even other people higher up the ladder too would be happy to take your money and I don't know, buy some ads on Facebook and pocket most of it, or whatever. And then of course there's the artists that you have to like really scream at to get anything done. There's a lot of bullshit. That would be my villain, I guess. Hero wise, I mean, honestly, I mean, there's a lady named Brandy that runs our local comic shop, and she is kind of keeping it together through a shitstorm of pretty epic proportions. Diamond just mailed her $2,000 worth of crap that she didn't order, billed her for it, and then expects to get paid for it, even though she never ordered it.
Damn.
And then she's so. But they're the ones that are kind of keeping things alive, I think, outside of Kickstarter anyway. So I'll go generic and give an award to the people or whatever. I am Times Man of the Year from 2011 or whenever they did everyone, technically. So something like that.
Wait, they did everybody?
Yeah, something like that. It was like a mirror. That year was a mirror cover so you can see yourself or some crap like that. It's
My
technically like,
timeline's all fucked up. I'm thinking everybody who survived the pandemic won People of the Year.
I can Google it, but yeah, there was something like that they did.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
been a slow news year, but yeah, it's just a bunch of people trying to make it work and do something they're passionate about, even though it's financially moronic. So, for the most part, I'm here. I respect people that are trying.
All right, fair enough. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just had to change my answer because I just found out that Justin was Times Man of the Year in 2011. So I guess I'm going to have to go with that. So, but my answer, I don't know if I would use the word hero for them, because I don't know, it's just a word that I tend not to use for like people, especially people that I know. But I think there are three people that do a really awesome job of kind of lifting our indie comics community up and helping to essentially, connect us with one another and signal boost like all of us really in the community. And one of them is Tyler James. I think his comic, the community that he's built over on his sites and the amount of information that he disseminates is fantastic. I think Travis Gibb does an awesome job of building a comics community and getting people together. And then I think Russell Nohelty, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he shares a ton of information about things that he's tested in the indie comics world and also in the author world. And he shares just a ton of information. So I think all three of those guys tend to be people that I would kind of catalog as like shining stars in the indie comics community in terms of helping out the rest of the community. And I think that's what, to me, are behaviors that I would identify as at least heroic, if I wouldn't call people heroes. And then I guess I would say in terms of villains, I mean, I think all of us, time would be the biggest villain because, most of us in the indie comics community, we have day jobs, we have families, and, we just don't have infinite time. And we want to get so much done, but only so many hours in a day. So.
Cool.
Fair. Derek, what are your thoughts?
So originally, I wasn't actually sure if I was going to have anyone, but then after thinking about it, I was like, I actually have like so many. You actually kind of turned me around. I was going to say Dave Sim as a villain, but I mean, the Creator Bill of Rights, I think, is a really important thing. So I will give that, I guess, to Dave Sim. After that, maybe not so much of anything else, but I'll definitely give him that. And then I guess for villains, I might piss a lot of people off. I was going to say Ethan Van Sciver, but I at least think that he put some good work out and is actually delivering some stuff. So I was going to change that to Richard C. Meyer instead. Because I really don't think anything has come from Richard C. Meyer.
I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry.
I mean,
he was really big. He was actually for a while. He was teamed up with Ethan Van Sciver on doing some very dumb stuff online. He went by Diversity and Comics and then changed to like your boy Zach, and then changed again to a different name. He was probably you guys are okay with like cursing on here?
I have no fucking problem with it.
Right,
exactly.
Cool. He was pretty famous for going after a lot of female editors at Marvel and calling a couple of them cum dumpsters and saying they slept their way to the top solely because they were putting out books that had diverse casts in them.
So he was a scumbag, basically.
He was a scumbag, and he did a lot of he would do like say Kickstarters, and it would go on for they would make a ton of money, and then nothing would come from it. He was for me anyway. When you're talking about like indie comic creators, you really just put a terrible name out there by acting this way and by essentially scamming everyone that even bought into your mythos.
Okay.
All right, cool. Fair enough. Jay, what are your thoughts?
All right, I'm going to start with villains first. I'm going to go with the robot monkeys, right? The hey, there we go, right? The
Oh,
the cheap ass posers out there who love to complain about not getting their fair shakes, about not getting into this, about not getting recognition for that. But you know what? You did one book in 6 years. You're really not putting anything out there. Um, the proof is in the pudding, right? Your actions speak louder than words. I want to read your book. I don't want to hear your bullshit. So that's excuse me, that was my soapbox moment also. Um, as for heroes, I'm gonna go with the blue collar guy. I'm gonna say Jim Valentino. Right, we're going way back to the old fanzine Ashcan days. Right, he was out there. He was out there slogging it with normal man, and then got in through Marvel with his connections to some other people. Right, but then was out there with Image as the publisher, but he showed us that you can be a comic book creator and still raise a family of five. I mean, that takes balls. Oh, that takes balls, and he made it work by hook or by crook, right? So, I know he's gone through a lot of rough times, and he's a blue collar guy, man. I mean, that's what we're all doing, whether we understand it or not. We're out here, we're grinding it out. We are. And as long as you don't stop the grind, then you're a fucking hero too.
that's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, I already answered the question. So, Jay, you're up.
All right, so we are playing the back half of 2025, gentlemen. What goal, or what goal of your goals do you think you will be able to achieve before the end of the year?
Mm. All right,
I know there's
Sean.
a lot of plates that we spin. We can't always keep them up, right? But what's the one that's gonna keep on going till 2026?
Cool. Sean, you're up.
Well, I just want to say, talking with you guys is awesome, and I'm like taking notes because you guys all have like awesome things to say. I just want to be able to keep writing my comic consistently, and maybe get issue 7 out before the end of the year. Our Kickstarter right now is for issue 6 of Dose Comics. That's the conclusion of our first story arc, and hopefully we could get issue 7 close to being done by the end of the year. We're not fast, we're pretty slow, but we're trying to grind it out, as you guys say. So yeah, I think that's really not big goals, just to keep working on the comic consistently and keep producing, I guess.
All right, yeah, that's how you do it, man.
Yeah. All right, cool. Justin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I'm trying to get. I have a lot of. Well, I've got 3 projects going. I would love to finish up the second issue of SWAT and maybe hypothetically, but get a Kickstarter going for like November or December. But yeah, and then hopefully just make more money and then have more money to plow into these projects because man, it gets expensive. Right?
Yeah.
But I would love it if what I've been getting told is like a lot of publishers are just on, they're not acquiring anything until Diamond is settled, right? So I picked the greatest time ever to try to break in, tariffs and Diamond and all this other horse shit. So I don't know, just keep moving forward, and it has been a really frustrating couple of years for me on a lot of levels. But you keep pushing, eventually it'll break, right?
That's it, Justin. Don't give up, dude.
Yeah.
Don't give up. That's it. That's it, man. I mean, that's why I call myself Unstoppable Comics. Not because I'm some great big engine of destruction, right? But it's because I'm the little train. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Bro, you keep pushing, bro. Keep fucking pushing. That's
I don't
it.
know,
Don't just
man.
give up.
I don't know, man. I've seen you go at a box of donuts.
That's when I'm an engine of destruction. But I hate donuts. That's how you don't know me. Cookies, though. Cookies.
Cookies. There you go.
But
All right. All right. Cool.
I'll let somebody else go. I can talk more if you want, but we can definitely let somebody else go.
No. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Sure, I've got a few plates up in the air that I'm trying to catch by the end of the year. So Mandrill PI, Carlos is almost done with the art for issue 8, so I'd like to get issue 8 funded, and then I have to rewrite issue 9 and 10 because I kind of lost the scripts for those whenever my old computer crashed. So listen to people back up your computers. Just have them automatically go to the cloud. I mean, you don't have to rewrite comic strips like that. Then I've got another series. I've got a space western that I've got it's an 8-issue miniseries. I've got all those finished written. I've finished writing all of them. I just need to get them edited and then find an artist for them. And then I've got another prose series that I'm trying to finish the first draft of the second book for, and also get the first book edited. That's about a ghost who runs a business exterminating other ghosts, and I've included the character in a few different anthologies now, so I'm turning it into some prose work and trying to get those books done. So.
All right, cool. Derek, what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, like, obviously I have a Kickstarter going right now. So, I mean, assuming that we could get that funded, I could get the book printed. But, I mean, the book itself is done. So I do know that I at least can get something going with that. And I have a bunch of other stuff already, like, written. I have 4 more issues of that exact same like series written, and then I have 2 of a different series already ready to go. So hopefully, if things go well, I could get either the next issue started, or maybe I could also start on a separate series at the same time.
All right, cool. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Sure. Obviously the Kickstarter. I want to get that funded. This Kickstarter that I'm doing is the biggest one that I've ever done. So getting this one funded will be like a big achievement for me for sure. At the beginning, the end of 2024, I really wanted to settle in and make 2025 like kind of my biggest year for making my stuff. So I kind of wrote down a list of all these scripts or these ideas that I've had in my head for years and years and years. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get started on at least all of them. And I'm probably not going to get around to all of them, but I gave it a shot, and I'm going to get a few of them done. So, I'm finishing up a Kickstarter that I ran last year. So the issue, the series, the comic for that is almost done. Hopefully get this current one funded. And then, I'm hoping to run another one in October, November-ish. So this will be the first year I've ever ran 2 Kickstarters in the same year. So, those are my big lofty goals for 2025.
That's cool. Wow. Where do I even begin? So I just finished 2 campaigns recently. I'm waiting for the books to get back so I can fulfill them, so I can launch 2 more. On top of that, I have another project that's comics adjacent, but a little different. That's hopefully going to materialize, hopefully by November of this year. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, for me, it's pretty much, SOP is, standard operating procedure. Just keep producing the books and keep making those Kickstarters. I know, Matt, you said you've done 2. I probably do 8 to 10 a year. So, and it's one of those things
Not
where
at that point yet.
Yeah, I just got a lot of backlog. I got a lot of material that's backlogged. So it's like just trying to get all that material out. So it's just a matter of just getting it all out there. and it just keeps piling up. So, which isn't bad, but I got a long story, so I'm trying to get it finished. But yeah, I think that's it. It's just getting the Oswald Chronicles done, getting Dreamweavers done, getting Magi's Grace done, Tall Tales eventually, and I think that's everything so far on the list. So yeah, just keep on keeping on.
Hmm.
All right, Jay, what do you got? Because I know you got a lot.
Yeah, we got a lot on our plate. The goal that I really hope to get taken care of is the action figures that we're going to be launching. That's huge. That is huge. That's huge. A huge investment. Feel like it's an albatross around my neck at this point. But I really hope we can get it funded. And anybody who's run a campaign knows that the funding is the easiest, the easiest part, right? Fulfillment and production. That's when things ramp up and start to get difficult. Other than that, I got 3 comic book campaigns. One launching Friday that are on the plate. And let's see if we can knock out 2 before New York Comic Con, and then one more after the convention or after the figure campaign is over.
All right, cool, very nice. All right, so I figured before I start with all the campaigns, I'm gonna softball everybody. All right, um, real quick. No, I won't ask that. All right, so what is your favorite super? Well, no, what's your favorite comic book movie? It could be anything. So, and we'll start with Justin.
Favorite comic book movie? The new Suicide Squad is about the only comic book movie I've watched more than once that's come out in the last decade, I think. So that'd have to be my pick. I thought that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that one a lot. And that was the question, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know, man. The day my son was born, the Sunday after Captain America: Civil War came out, and I remember that because I was in the theater on Friday, bored out of my fucking mind, not realizing my wife was going into labor, and like she insisted that we stay for the extra credit scene. And I'm like, either you're in labor or we can stay. Anyway, I don't know. That was one of the last ones I saw. I don't know. I watched a lot of them, but the Suicide Squad one was a lot of fun. But I just kind of at the point in my life where I don't even watch movies anymore. Like I didn't even see the new Mad Max movie, and I love that shit. I mean, I should have seen it, but I just can't quite manage to get 2 hours to just. I'd rather just be asleep. I don't know. So I should be ashamed, but honestly, the James Gunn's Suicide Squad?
Yes.
Yeah.
That and the Peacemaker series was really, really good. I love that one. But mostly I watch The Boys and stuff like that, where it's like the anti-superhero stuff more often than not. Anyway. So.
All right, cool. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Sure. So I think my favorite my favorite comic book movie is going to get counted as a technicality because they made comic books of it like decades later. But Big Trouble in Little China is the best movie ever made, and I think it was Boom that put out a few sequel comics. I think Fred Van Lente wrote them, if I remember correctly. But at least the first couple arcs were pretty good. You should check them out. Then I would say, I mean, I've never been a huge DC person, but I just saw Superman and just like I saw it with my kid and just seeing the utter thrill in his eyes whenever anything happened on screen. He has been walking around for weeks now because of the trailer doing that. Hey buddy, eyes up here, and I'm doing that and like jumping up in the air, and it's just been a delight to see, and just the excitement that comes from comic book movies in his eyes. And then, for me as a kid, I mean, it's not as a kid, but like the first Hellboy movie was something that I enjoyed. And And as a kid, I guess this would technically count as well, like the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and then the second one. I've spent so many hours of my life saying that's a little too rough from the second one that I'd argue that should count. So.
Secret of the Ooze, the
Yeah.
second one.
There you go. All right, cool.
My mom wouldn't let me watch that, and I thought it was the coolest movie in all time because I never got to see it.
Mm.
Yeah, really missed out on Vanilla Ice.
All right, Derek, what are your thoughts?
Well, now I'm a little upset because that actually was my answer, was the 1990 TMNT movie. I think I've seen that movie more than any other comic book movie that's come out, and they treated it fairly like accurately, especially for that time. Like when you're doing adaptations, I'm not, and even now I'm still not used to a movie coming out based on a book or based on a comic book and it being faithful outside of like superficial stuff. I mean, obviously, they changed some things from the comics to kind of match like the cartoon show, but I think those kind of work. And I've been a TMNT fan my entire life, so like to the point I'm still reading the book as it's coming out. So I guess I do have to go with that.
That's fair. Matt, what are your thoughts?
I think the X-Men, the first X-Men movie from '99, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not like I think it's the best film, but I don't know, nostalgic reasons. It's the first kind of comic book movie I saw in the theater, probably. And yeah, just like by today's standards, it feels a lot smaller, like kind of blockbuster-ish movie. Like the story is a lot smaller, the budget seems a lot more reined in, and yeah, that kind of smaller scale to it kind of endears me to it.
Hugh
And I
Jackman
really like,
way less steroids.
yeah. And I like the X-Men like in the uniform, in the black leather uniform. I dig that look. Yeah, and I don't know. Dark Knight is also a big one, and the '89 Batman movie. Like I watched that all the time when I was a kid.
Was Buckaroo Banzai a comic?
No.
Or was that
No.
just the same movie?
No.
They had an adaptation, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It should have been.
Yeah, really.
Is it like an original concept? It's just kind of like influenced by so many other pulpish things.
I think they just did a lot of drugs and just sort of made a movie.
Yeah.
But
Fucking 80s.
Mm-hmm.
briefcase or whatever. They were Hunter S. Thompson in it. And,
Yeah. This
yeah.
is true. Yeah. Remember what was the one? Was it guitar playing samurai? What was that one? Do you remember, guys? Remember
That was him. That was Buckaroo Banzai.
No. But there was another movie with.
I think that movie is called Six String Samurai.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but
You know what? I want to change my answer to the original Judge Dredd movie.
Okay. The Stallone movie.
That's good. That's a nice point.
Is it because you're such a big Rob Schneider fan? Or is
Yeah,
it...
he really nailed the comic role. Sylvester was great.
Okay. All right.
I hadn't thought of that movie in a long time.
Uh-huh.
But I think that movie is a big part of why the second Dredd movie failed, is because it came out at a time when like Piranha 3D was the only other 3D movie that was coming out, and then everyone had PTSD from that movie, so it was just sort of 3 strikes before you even looked at it. So, anyway,
Sean, what are your thoughts? Sean, can you hear me? I don't know. Sean, can you hear me?
he does not look like.
Sean.
Sean?
Oh, hey,
Oh, damn.
It happens.
Feel bad. He was
Uh,
there too, dude. He was there.
He was there. Jay, what are your thoughts?
All right. Honorable mention. Like Chris, goes to Superman. It was hokey. but it was good. It wasn't mean spirited. Oh, let Sean go. Let Sean rock and roll.
Thank you, guys. Sorry about that. Well, I'm going to go a little bit off the board here and say maybe my favorite. It's not just a it's a series of films, but the 1970s manga adaptation of the Lone Wolf and Cub films.
Those are right.
So those are very bloody, very. They stick to the comic, I think, pretty well, but that's my all-time favorite, I'd say.
Nice, I like it. Go, Jay.
All right, so honorable mention, Superman. I really dug it. Okay, honorable mention, The Last Avengers. Waiting 10 years to hear Captain America say "Avengers Assemble." God damn, that last 30 minutes of the movie, it's just perfect. Now, greatest comic book movie of all time came from a comic strip serial. Was a serial. It starred a Bond villain, a Bond femme fatale, a lady who worked with Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett Jr., the New York Jets, the greatest character actor in all of geekdom, and none other than the greatest soundtrack of all time. Talking 1980s Flash Gordon, people.
Oh,
Okay? 1980s Flash Gordon. I mean, he was a Jet fan. Hello, hi, come on, all day, right? You had Queen on the soundtrack.
Yep.
You got Timothy Dalton, right? You had Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. You had the greatest Doctor Doom ever, who was gold and black instead of silver and green, right? You had the lady who played Dale. That the only other thing I saw her in was Firewalker with Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett Jr. So the guy who's the great character actor is the guy who did Porkins in Star Wars, who did my God, the crooked detective in Batman '89. He was the guy who hid Indiana Jones Ark of the Covenant at the end. He was the one that chickened out of going into the spaceship with Flash Gordon. Oh, excuse me, and you had a Tony Award winner in the guy who did Fiddler on the Roof. What's his name? How is that movie not fucking better?
Brian Blessed.
Oh, and Brian Blessed. Yes. Flying high on a sock cycle. I mean, fucking great. Fucking Brian Blessed. I didn't see. It's so stacked. I forgot about fucking Brian Blessed. Oh my God, the fucking greatest comic book movie of all time.
Okay. I liked it too.
I love Flash Gordon.
Yeah, it was a great movie. I have to agree with you on that. I could have lived the rest of my life not knowing any of that other stuff, though.
Was
Well, you look at this. Oh, go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
Dolph Lundgren was in one of those. Was that Flash Gordon?
No, He-Man.
Oh, okay.
He-Man
Yeah.
with a very young Courtney Cox.
Yeah. William Hoopkins is the. Oh, sorry, that does not show up on the camera. Is the guy who played Porkins. So
There we go. You see, dude, he was a great character actor, man. He did a lot of stuff. He was, 80s. He was it. It was him and the guy from Trancers. What's his name?
Trancers.
Trancers.
Yeah.
Remember the cop that he went after zombies with the blue veins?
No, I don't know that one.
Come on, guys. Sean was not in his head. He knows what I'm talking about.
I know of the film. I have not seen that, but that's
What's
a
it
deep
called?
cut.
Trancers.
Trancers. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Come, you guys didn't have Cinemax? Come on, guys. You know we watched it for more than just porn. Stop
They
it.
might have been reading comics. You know.
No, I would live down in the middle of buttfuck nowhere. On some days on Saturday, if like the ionosphere was in the right way, I could get Fox until around 5 p.m., but it would just fade out. So yeah, I know Cinemax. I didn't have cable.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's rough.
All right. For myself, I'll say as an honorable mention is the Hellboy movies
Yeah. Very good.
because all right, the first two by Guillermo I really enjoy. The third one with Harbor, I think there's a good movie in there. I do think it's on the cutting room floor though.
Yeah.
And then I really enjoyed The Crooked Man. I don't know if any of you are
Seen it.
familiar with Hellboy, but if you watch that movie and then read the comic that was illustrated by Richard Corbin, it's interesting because they stuck very close to that comic. So, and that's one of the reasons I actually really like it. But I would choose for number one to go against Justin. Dread. Dread is a great movie. You know,
Wait, you
'cause
mean
he never removes the mask.
Oh, the second one's awesome. I was not trying to crap on the second
He,
one at
he,
all.
he never removes the mask.
science fiction raid? You mean?
Dread.
Yeah, science
Dread.
fiction raid. Science fiction raid redemption. That's what it is.
What are you talking about?
What?
The Raid Redemption and Judge Dredd are the same movie, dude.
Oh well.
I don't even know the other. I don't even know what you're
No
talking
one's accusing the Dread movie of being like.
Oh yeah, no, no.
about. Oh, you talk.
Another
Are you
movie
talking
where they
about?
have
you
to go in a
the
building
raid.
up the stairs and kill everybody on the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Gotcha.
yes. It's a simple concept, you know, which is awesome because you can fill it with all these other science fiction elements, but they didn't. I wish they put more sci-fi, more city, like they did in the original Sci Dread.
There were some nods to the comics in the second movie.
Oh, yeah?
that were like the giant fat guy that's like got blown away. That's a whole callback to an entire thing in the comics. There were a few nods. I mean, I see your point. You know, it's in one place, but
But I mean, but in the end, we're just scratching the surface, right? So, you know,
Very
Derek.
nice.
Yeah.
Derek, would you please walk us through this?
Sure. I guess this is the book that myself and Ray Fujiwara have been working on for the last few months. Like I said earlier, it's already illustrated. It's already like complete, basically. We were just trying to get the funding to get it printed. So there's really very little risk in terms of donations because it's the only thing I have to do is send it off to get printed once we get the money, and then mail everything out to everybody. But it's a nice kaiju story. It involves quite a bit of secret government agencies and a little bit more of the global response to something as weird as like these creatures showing up. So yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything more that you want me to say about it.
Well, I was curious because you had mentioned at the beginning of the show 4-issue limited series.
I have 4 written, but I have it planned for 6. And Ray has already told me he's ready to go on the second book, but I didn't really want to. I didn't want to pull the trigger on that until we got something going with this because however much I think that we could get this printed and put out in people's hands, it's still going to be a lot of work on my end to mail all this stuff out, and I don't necessarily want to get him started on something and then have to put a halt to it midway through because I'm working on something else. I'm very much of the mind of let's do it right the first time. And which is part of why originally when I had approached Ray, the idea was we were going to do half the book and then do the Kickstarter. But then we started doing it and I was like, let's just finish the whole thing. Because I don't see the point of putting the Kickstarter up and asking for money if I have any concerns about it getting done. So I wanted to make sure that at least in my mind, there's no problem coming out of this.
All right, cool. Now is the 6 issues, is that like one arc in a larger story, or is that the story?
It's essentially the story. I have like it's kind of broken down into 2-issue mini arcs. But and I have like I have ideas for like where to take it after that if I wanted to.
Mhm.
But like to cap off everything, 6 issues covers everything that I really need to say with these characters. While also, obviously you can always do more. But the plan was only for those 6.
Okay, very nice. I mean, listen, I mean, your artist is awesome. I mean, it looks like a very nice concept. It looks like a great looking book. I mean, I would tell everyone go pick up a copy.
Thank you. I mean, so Ray, I actually came from the Kubert School,
Mhm.
and that's how I found Ray, is through his work at the Kubert School.
Cool.
Although we didn't ever cross paths, just in the digital world, I guess we came across each other. And so I had him do all the pencils and inks. I did all of the writing, colors, and letters for the book.
Okay, very nice. I mean, you guys did a great job. It's a really, really good looking book. It looks nice.
Thank you so much.
So you got
I gotta
17
say, the
back.
letters look great.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
17 days to go. So you picked up another backer, and listen, man. I mean, it's a really, really nice looking book, man. Good job.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So now Jay's gonna goof on me because I'm gonna take forever now to pull up the.
Yeah, I don't know why he didn't have it primed.
Yeah, I
You know
know.
what I mean?
I should have always just had
All
it
you gotta
ready.
do
Like
is have
he
the
had,
tab open and then
Yeah.
just hit switch. I mean,
and then you should see the way he does it on his show. It's
I'm a
like
master.
flawless.
I throw in the segue. I'm
Oh, yeah.
a master of this stuff, kid. Come on.
Oh yeah. There's 19 levels of bullshit just right there.
Fuck yeah, 19 year old. I'm from New York.
Um,
19 levels of bullshit is before my first cup of coffee in the morning. Come on, bro.
I love it. You
He's
gotta
stealing
get
the
him a
show,
mic.
Chris. I love it, dude. I love it, bro.
Love it. All right.
That's
All right,
that's
Sean.
neat. Yeah.
Hey, this is all you.
Well, yeah. This is we're crowdfunding for the 6th issue of Dose. This is the conclusion of our story arc, and so it's a little, Dose is a little bit. It's not for everyone. It's not for kids. We have kaiju's. The kaiju chief of police doing cocaine in her office. So it's a little bit different take on kaijus, or not. Here's a giant one rampaging through the city. But that's sort of what Dose is about. Superhero noir, meta drug, cyberpunk, kaiju sex, ultra violence is our tagline. So
Nice. I like it. So who's the artist? Are you Are you one of the artists? Are you the writer?
no, well, yeah. Thank you for asking that. My comic book partner John Gebbia, he also went to the Joe Kubert School many years ago. So he handles everything on the art side. I write, I letter, and edit the book. So
Okay.
yes.
Cool. Very nice. I mean, listen again, another great looking book. I mean, it looks really, really nice. I mean, and so you said this is issue 6, and this is the final issue
Yeah.
in the arc.
Well, yes, this is the final issue. Hopefully, we'll have we have enough issues for our trade paperback now, and hopefully, we'll be doing something with that in the future. But yeah, this is the conclusion to our story arc.
All right, cool. And I would imagine, do you have the first 5 issues available on the campaign?
We do. We certainly do. Yes.
All right,
So
cool.
anyone could purchase those. There's some T-shirts, and yeah.
Yeah. The
Really
cop
cool.
snorting is hilarious.
Thank you.
Yeah, but no, this looks really awesome because I love the creature design. So the basic concept is someone they're shooting up drugs and they're turning into kaiju.
Well, that's part. Yeah, that's part of it. So our main character, the screwworm, him and him and Medicaid, who he just sort of helped rescued from some never do wells. They're trying to get through the city, get to safety. They take a rest and they go into this church, the Church of Variable. And here in the Church of Variable, they use Variable to sort of turn into kaiju, so to speak. Or, with Variable, you don't know what you're going to turn into. And here's the chief, the leader of the church, the highest being, and he injects the Variable, and he has a transformation there, and he wants the screwworm and Medicate to join their church and to become initiated through the use of Variable.
All right, cool. Listen, man, I like it, man. Looks really nice.
I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
Another strong recommend. Go pick up a copy, damn it. Go get it now. Cool. All right. Chris. Oh, do you want me to play the video?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, so Mandrel P, like I said at the top of the show, is about a primate private detective who lives in a cartoon world and solves supernatural and occult mysteries. So kind of like Hellboy meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I'd say that this series has been super close to my heart because there's a bit more to it than just noir adventure. He's a down on his luck primate who's lost the love of his life to the chaotic cartoon world in which he lives. But throughout the series, in both comics and prose novels, he struggles with learning to come to terms with his grief over his dead wife. And it was through the prose novels and the comics how I explored my own grief over my own parents' deaths. But to those who haven't experienced, like any sort of loss or anything, it'll just seem like a fun romp, an adventure in a cartoon world. This issue begins a new story arc and introduces a new character, the luchador El Coto Jefe Jaguar. And these two battle it out in a fight for the ages. And after seeing how Carlos Trigo, my artist, brought it to life, I've never been more proud to work with him. He did an awesome job in this issue with a ton of ridiculously cool action scenes with a lot of pro wrestling involved.
Nice.
There's tons of cool rewards with this issue, including 3 variant covers. And the first variant cover, those are all just preview or recaps of previous issues and showing people the art. I'll wait till you get down to the creator section for the variant covers, so you know who the variant cover artists are. Let's see. So that one is so every time I run a Kickstarter, I always try to get somebody from the world of animation, and so I'd say with this one we definitely hit the jackpot. This is Carl Hadrika. He's an Emmy-winning and Annie-nominated creator, and he's worked on some super awesome animation shows like the Cuphead show, Becky Prim, The Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, Animaniacs, tons of other stuff. And he just made this ridiculously cool cover. And then in addition to that, we've got Gerald von Stoddard, who's just who's doing a ton of work in the indie comic scene right now. And he's been doing a ton of covers, and he's just awesome to work with. And then that piece was colored by, I don't know if I'm going to say his name right, Guillermo Lindenberg Mendes. And if anybody needs a colorist to work on some art like this, I've got his name listed below, so you can at least Google him and reach out to him. And then finally, my buddy Brett Giuliano, who, if you are also into anthropomorphic animals, he makes a comic called Dust Bunny Mafia, and it's just a delightful comic about, true life mobster stories, but with anthropomorphic animals. And so pulled him in to do a cover for this issue. So yeah, tons of really cool variant artists, and then new metal covers, new T-shirt, and then the piece that I like to always offer in my Kickstarters, which is a custom short story. And so this would be, the backer and I would align on an overall mystery and some characters that we'd create. I'd write a 10,000 word short story, get it professionally edited, get a professional cover made for it, and then deliver it to their inbox when it's all done. And so that's the one that I always like to throw out there, even though nobody's ever taken me up on it. But when somebody does, it'll be awesome. But anyway, this issue is super exciting. I can't wait for people to read it. We upped the page count from 24 to 28 for this issue. Nice. And like I said, it's the beginning of a new story arc. So, plenty of room to catch up on the previous story arc and then hop aboard for this one.
Cool. So this is 4 issues, and is the story arc 4 issues for this one, or is it 6?
This one's going to be 4. So I upped the page count to 28, and then going to do 4 issue story arcs from now on, because I learned with that last story arc with the 6 issues that it just takes a while to get to a trade, and we can tell a story in 4 issues. So.
All right, cool. Listen, man, I got the first trade. It was awesome. Loved it.
Thanks.
Listen, again, another huge recommend.
Sorry. Is this do you have is it printed in magazine format? Because it kind of looks
it's in comics format. So some of those renders we're using I don't know if you use the My Ebook Cover Maker site to do the renders, but they have magazine format rather than comic, and so it's just the nature of those renders, but it's comic format.
Cool.
Yeah, man, but it's a great book though. I really enjoy this.
Thanks.
So, I'm very happy that you've moved to the new format.
Yeah, I'm excited to get trades out so much faster. So,
unfortunately, guys, I'm a trade waiter, so I'm one of those guys. So, but yeah, man, this was a great book. I mean, you're already funded. You got another 20 days to go, so it's all gravy for you, man. Great job. But I mean, I don't. You always put out a great book, so.
Way to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really cool.
And I don't know. I got this other guy's book, but I don't know. Anyway, at least he has a nice cover. There you go.
Oh, yeah, baby. What's up, man? Pre-launch page for issue number 6 of Shield of the Interceptor. Part 2 of the Golden Moon. I take my flagship hero and I send him to Puerto Rico. I'm a child of Puerto Rican descent, and I get to incorporate some Taino Indian history, a little bit of mythology on how a certain relic made it from Spain and Queen Isabella into the hands of the Taino Indians. And why does the Interceptor play a part in all of this? Well, that's part of the story, folks. Right? I can't tell you everything. But this is going to be a 32-page book. So there's 29 pages worth of story. We launched this Friday. Early bird backers get a holochrome trading card automatically added to their reward at no extra charge. And that's paying homage to the old Wizard Comics Guide to Magazine Covers. So that's in there. And then if you're a returning backer, doesn't matter what book you have backed from me at any point, doesn't have to be Shield of the Interceptor, but all returning backers get another holochrome trading card added to their reward at no extra charge. So these two cards are valued at $5 a pop. So five, that's 10. The book and shipping, that would make it 20. But the very first reward tier is for $10. So I'm giving up a hell of a lot to get this book printed, I guess. I don't know. You get some value. You get some value in there, folks. So that's what this bad boy is going to be doing. We're going to run it for 3 weeks. Cover is by Larry Toussaint. The interiors are from series regular Andres Barreto.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. Looks good. Okay, let me hit the little button for you. There you go. All right.
Oh, thanks, Easter Bunny.
Oh. Hold on. You know what's funny? Man, I can't believe I did that. I am so sorry, Matt. You know, because
Over Matt. What a bonehead.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Chris.
Save the best for last. It's all right.
there you go. Matt, do you want me to play this video?
Sure, if you need sound for it, so otherwise it might be a little awkward.
No, I should.
Hi, my name's Matt McGrath, writer and co-creator of A Journey into the Abyss with artist Marissa Mayhew. A Journey into the Abyss is a science fiction fantasy graphic novel based on the works of pioneering filmmaker Georges Méliès.
Our story follows Beatrice, president of the legendary astronomy club. She is determined to reach the sphere of stars at all costs, a task entangled in her grief for the loss of her spouse Alcophrysbis, who died on a previous failed mission. After many failed attempts, Beatrice does the unthinkable, recruits the disgraced Professor Barbon Fowlis to help her achieve her goal. But they soon learn that some realms are better left undisturbed. As they shatter through the sphere of stars, they discover it is a prison containing the churning madness beyond.
We're offering a ton of great rewards, like digital and print versions of the book, variant covers, a chance to be drawn into the book, and original art. So, help us bring this book to life. Back A Journey into the Abyss today, and there you go.
Good job, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna putting my acting skills to the test in that video.
Good job. I like it.
Yeah, now I don't even have to explain the concept, which is great because I'll just give a Marvel mouth answer of it. But yeah, what did we not explain? So yeah, it's an 80-page graphic novel based on the works of Georges Méliès. And yeah, so like here we got our covers. So that one cover, first one's by Marissa Mayhew. This is by Fellhound. And this one is by Jen Woodall. So Fellhound and Jen are both Canadian comic artists based in Toronto. And yeah, what else can I say about this? 80 pages. It's also an A4 format, so that's why I asked Chris. This one is a little bit bigger than your usual standard comic. It's here you go. This is quite a bit bigger. So that's one I did before.
You can hold it up. So I gave you a full. No, you can hold up the copy. You can hold up the your sample.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So yeah, here, where is a regular comic? So this is a.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, so a little bit wider and yeah, so we're offering, like I said, a lot of great rewards. We have a book plate that's going to be risograph printed, which is I'm very excited for. I really love risograph and the look of it. So this is the first time I'll be doing that. So yeah, with the risograph book plate, you can either get it signed by Marissa and I, or for an extra $10 Canadian, you can get a sketch on it as well. And yeah, we're offering some original art from Marissa. So she does her layouts and her pencils all on paper, and then she moves on to digital inks. But yeah, so like something like that. I'll throw in like it's a pretty cheap tier, so I'll throw in like a couple of pieces of like maybe a character design or original page or something like that. You can get a commission, and you can also be drawn into the comic itself. Um, yeah, so like I said, this is by far my biggest campaign that I've ever run so far. So 15,000 Canadian. We're just a hair away from getting it 50% funded, and yeah, a little over halfway through the campaign so far. So and if you want to see the original film that it's based off of, you can just click on that YouTube.
Yeah.
It's a little long, so we don't have to go through it now, but yeah.
So, I mean, what inspired you? I mean, obviously the movie inspired you, but like, what made you come up and say, "Oh yeah, let me base it on that film"?
Yeah, so this is an idea that I've had in my head for years since university. So I always like kind of knew about the image of the moon going into the dude's eye, but I didn't know where it was from. Like I knew it was a silent film. So it wasn't until I went to film school, U of T. I majored in cinema studies that I was exposed to his films, and yeah, just kind of really fell in love with them. Um, they look, I don't know, so cool. And it's just a style that you don't really see anymore other than like, the Tonight Tonight Smashing Pumpkins music video and a couple other things, that aesthetic of like mixing fantasy and science fiction. And that kind of like turn of the century steampunky way.
Mm.
Yeah, I really liked it. So yeah, I had an idea in university, and I kind of call it like the Theseus's ship of ideas, where one character gets replaced and one idea gets replaced, and all these other characters and ideas get replaced over and over years. Where what I have right now is nothing at all of what I came up with in that original idea, except like that the basis in these films. Um, so yeah, it's a long time in the making, and yeah, another thing that we're gonna do, it's a little, I think, cool, is we're gonna do a chapter by chapter release. So it'll get funded, and then as the book is being completed, we'll release it digitally that way as well. So people aren't have to wait like months and months on end to get the digital version. So once this funds, we'll release a prologue, and then a month later we'll release chapter one, and then once chapter two is finished, we'll release that, and then it'll all get collected into a PDF at the end for the digital backers, and yeah, printed for the print backers. So
All
that's what
right,
I got.
cool. I mean, listen, it looks really, really nice. Where did you discover your artist, or how did you come across your artist?
Yeah, so we were actually it's in this anthology together, Gothic Tales of Haunted Futures. So yeah, I was published in here with another artist, and she was published in there as well. So yeah, once I saw her art, like I had an idea for another short story that I pitched her for an anthology, and when that pitch wasn't accepted, I was like, oh, I got this other idea. Maybe you want to do this. And at the time, I was like, it's just going to be like a 20-page thing, so like not that long. But then as I started writing it, it became like 36 pages and 40 pages, and oh, it's going to be 50 pages, and then no, and then it just became this big graphic novel extravaganza. So yeah, that's how I met her. She's also Canadian, so I'm based in Toronto. She's based in Brandon, Manitoba, so a couple hours outside of Winnipeg.
Cool. Well, you're 48% funded. You got another 10 days. You got a little hustle to do, but I think you can make it, man. I mean, it's a really, really nice looking book. I mean,
Yeah,
really,
yeah, it
really
wouldn't be one of my campaigns if pretty much every campaign I've run, we've funded, you know,
the last
uh,
minute.
yeah, pretty much like the last hour. So
Gotcha.
I'm expecting that again. So I'm not too worried yet, but
Okay.
you know,
Listen,
getting there.
yeah, good looking book. Like I said, another strong campaign. I really like it. So everybody, go pick up a damn book. Go buy this book.
Do it.
All right. All right. I'll pull up my campaign real quick.
Don't forget, Justin got something in there also, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna pull them up. But all right. Well, this is my campaign for the Oswald Chronicles. This is issues 1 through 4. What my eye see, I cannot tell. A story where Oswald tells a story of when he first fell in love with his wife, and he is currently an emperor in dream, and he's going through all kinds of problems. Primarily, he's having a fight with the local church, and he discovers that there's a demon is really running the whole thing. So he's going to war with them. So that's that. This will probably be released. I don't know. It'll probably be another month at least because I still have to fulfill the last campaign. So that's that for that. And then just yeah, Justin, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, I mean, that's just a link to SWAT on Global Comics. It's free, so people can just go check it out. And
Oh, okay, cool. I'll pull it up.
it's something. So SWAT's it's the Secret Wizard Assault Team. It's basically Gonzo Harry Potter in some sense, where they're going to have one guy that's going to they have to fire somebody. So instead of doing that, they decide to not frame but make an issue out of a vampire's murders that they were kind of sitting on, and that ended up spiraling out into a whole 36 issue catastrophe. So it's I think it's really funny. It's wild. It's all over the place. We've got at some point in the far future. That's just a dedication page. I don't know what they're doing with anyway. We got stuff like there's a goblin accountant named Count Von Zollen who is loves to count and murder. He loves to audit you and then also take your shit. And he's just kind of all over the place. There's all kinds of stuff. But it's really interesting, and it's available for free on Global Comics. I don't know why they can't get to any of the art. There you go. But I really Rachel Disler's the artist. She did a really great job with the art. DC Hopkins did, I think, an amazing job lettering the thing. Not that you can see it on this page because there's no words, but he did a good job there. And it's just check it out.
All right, cool. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Justin, is this the book that you had running on Zoop?
Yeah.
How was that experience? Can I ask?
Zoop's nice people. I mean, I like them very much. I felt like I think it's a great platform for people that have a following that already exists that they can bring to the platform. I felt like I was explaining what Zoop was and trying to introduce myself a lot, which probably was not the greatest plan. But no, I mean, they were helpful. They gave me my money on time. It was all quite nice.
Okay.
So
That's good. So I mean, is this just a preview? Is there also a physical copy that they can pick up?
Not right now. I just kind of put this up so people can look at it. I still have a few print copies lying around, but I don't know. To some degree, I feel like I'm. Well, I have a lot to learn about how to do this kind of stuff, I think. But right now, I'm mostly hoping that someone would pick it up and publish it rather than go completely. This is not right. That display is not. Yeah, that got better, but so I don't know. I'm kind of in a holding pattern with SWAT right now, and trying to get something done. But it looks like we might go Kickstarter again for issue 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, listen, it looks like just with the little gnome, it's a fun,
I mean, I adore the comic. I think it's got. I mean, it's really good. Some of this art is not coming across very well on the screen, and the colors are off. But I don't know if that's. But anyway, no. I mean, I'm very proud of it, and I think it'll. When people read it and they get a chance to look at it, I think they're usually pretty impressed with it. So I think it's got a lot of potential, but we're still in the kind of getting the wheels moving phase.
No, I got you, man. Listen, nobody said it was easy.
No, it is not.
right? Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. I'm sure you could ask anybody, anybody here, And then there's some folks who just absolutely have to do the most insane thing you can do, right, Jay?
Yeah, what? Oh, yeah, that's my other pre-launch page. Those are for the action figures. We're going to be launching those bad boys in late September. They're going to be approximately 1/18 scale. That's around 4 inches. There's going to be 6 figures at the outset, 3 demons, and the flagship character of Unstoppable Comics, the Interceptor, in 3 variant forms. There are 3 more figures set up as stretch goals with the possibility of more if we continue to get funded. They're going to be taking around 18 months to make, and I need enough money to get it done so I don't get kicked out of the house. So if anybody who does not want to see me homeless, I would love for them to at least just hit, the notification bell, right? So we can show that we're making some sort of headway. But, toys have always been my jam. G.I. Joe's always been my thing. They were cheap for a poor kid. And today, G.I. Joe, a G.I. Joe figure was Spider-Man. Tomorrow, he was Chuck Norris. The day after that, he was Flash Gordon. The day after that, he was, He-Man, all the other stuff I couldn't afford. So figures like this help expand my imagination. And if I can do the same for those out there, that would be awesome.
All right, cool. All right, Jay, you're up.
I asked the question.
You didn't ask the last question. I asked the last question. You're up.
God damn. Thanks, Rod. I appreciate it. But all right. Let me go into my book here. Fuck it. You know what? All right. Who are you making comic books for? Are you making it for yourself, or are you making it for a group? Who are you making the books for?
Cool. Fair enough.
No right or wrong answer. Okay.
Right. So, Chris, you're up.
I mean, I'd say that, like, first and foremost, like, if they're not fun for me to write, then it's going to be hard to do it long term. So I'd say, like, first and foremost, like, me and, like, the little voice inside my head that, like, until I get stuff out on a page, it just bothers me and, like, kicks me in the back until I get it out there. So I'd say first and foremost me, but then, everybody else, I'd say, who enjoys the same kind of shtick that I also enjoy. So I'd say there's at least enough people that enjoy the same kind of stuff that I like that has allowed me to fund, at this point. This is my 11th Kickstarter, so I'd like to hope that there's at least an audience there for that. So.
Fair enough. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm probably the only person who wanted to see a sequel to a 120-year-old silent film. So, yeah, a lot of my projects are definitely written for myself, first and foremost. And sometimes that shows, because not all ton of people always pick them up, or at cons and stuff. They kind of like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, I think I'm the audience I'm pleasing, and I definitely have more ideas where, like, this is a concept like nobody is asking for it except for me, and if it doesn't exist, I'm the only person out there who can put it into the world. So it's my duty to make this comic that will make me happy, and maybe nobody else, but maybe a couple of people will come along for the ride. So yeah.
I think it's a cool concept. I mean, it sounds like you're kind of mixing H.G. Wells and H.P. Lovecraft a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
H.G. Wells and I'm forgetting the other kind of early science fiction writer who
Verne?
20,000 Leagues Under Jules Verne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that too. Somebody described the book as like
Maybe I was
Jules Verne meets Over the Garden Wall. I think that's a pretty good description. Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Sean, what are your thoughts on the question? I think he's frozen again. Sean, can you hear us? Is it me? Bless you.
Sorry.
Always when it's his turn.
It's like
He
you
disappears.
sneezed and you threw him off the screen, Justin.
Blew him off the screen. Yep.
Back.
How you doing, Sean? All right.
Striking a nice pose for us.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah, sorry. I was. I mean, I'm right. As we all know, and as you've mentioned earlier, JD, this it's not easy, in a certain sense. But also weirdos like me.
I don't know.
I
Some of that.
I think you got. I think you cut out a little bit there.
I got some of it. Yeah, I got some of it. But we're all weirdos. We're all weirdos, Sean.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
I get it.
Sorry. Yeah.
I think your connection is just suffering right now, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, bud.
Got to turn off the porn streams.
Listen, it hasn't been messing up my feed.
The porn streamers. I don't want to know what you're doing underneath that screen, buddy.
Listen, I'm wearing pants. That's all I can say. Right?
Right now, you are.
But later, you know.
Oh man.
All right. All right. We'll come back to Sean. Derek, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a similar answer to everyone else. Like, I started doing it because I wanted to, you know, and the more like I work on it, the more like I try to develop it, and the idea becomes like, oh, like what would be an interesting story, and it'd be hopefully something that someone else wants to see, you know, either through the narrative or through the artwork itself. You know, I was able to at least get my artist on board just by kind of like pitching him on it. So you know, I mean, it's a difficult answer because it always is going to come back to what is it that we want to do.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, that's fair. I've, you know, we've gone around and around on this question before, and like, yeah, I've answered this one before, and it's pretty much hasn't changed. I write these stories for myself, and then of course try to find people to share it with, right? So that's my main goal. Is just I write the stories that I enjoy, and then hopefully I'll be able to find similarly minded people who also enjoy those same stories. So that's how I roll. So Jay, how do you answer your own question?
Oh, 100% for myself. You know, I got tired of seeing the Excalibur side tales, like the Kid Who Would Be King, and everything else where the kid takes up a sword in you know, the YA Harry Potter land. I mean, there's so many other areas to explore, right? That's what the Interceptor is about. It's the shield that was supposed to go along with the sword Excalibur. It allows me to play with those toys, but not be bound by those rules, right? And I get to incorporate, like I'm saying here in the chat, my love of He-Man and my love of Captain America. I'm a huge Captain America mark. I'm most likely never going to write Captain America in my lifetime, right? But I could take those ideas, those stories, and play with it, and maybe elevate the tales that I want to tell with this concept. It's not high concept. No way, right? I'm never going to write Watchmen or anything, you know, science fiction related with that's like Star Trek, you know, really real dedicated to the technical aspect stuff. But I can throw in those big oh wow moments, right? Or those emotional heartbeat damn moments, right? And that's what I'm playing with. I'm taking on a roller coaster ride of that, and I'm having fun doing it. If anybody wants to jump on the ride with me, come on, let's go.
All right, Sean, you were gone for a minute there. Kind of cut out. Do you want to try answering the question again?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Sorry for the streaming issues out
Nah,
here
it
in
happens, man.
Tokyo. But yeah, as we all know, making comics is not an easy business. It's definitely a labor of love, and this was writing a comic book was always one of my big life dreams. So to be able to do it is a dream come true. But of course, I'm writing the comic for myself and other weirdos like me who might enjoy what I'm trying to create.
There you go.
All right, very cool, very cool, nice. All right, cool. Um, all right. Here's one we all suffer from. What's on your to-do list that you're actively avoiding? Right? Because we all have a to-do list, and what is it you're actively avoiding? Right? And Derek, you're up.
I mean, I guess like taking care of myself is perpetually on my to-do list that I never quite get to. I live my life kind of from the time I get up to the time I go to sleep. I have to be busy. If I don't do something, I get depressed. So I'm just constantly moving. I have a never-ending list of projects, either around my house, for my wife, for the comic book, for like my day job, and those all like kind of get done. Anything that I tend to want to do is always at the very end.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. Matt, what's on your to-do list that you're avoiding?
Uh, well, one of the things on my to-do list that I was avoiding up until today, when I actually finally did it, was go through all my sons and my daughters, baby clothes and toddler clothes, and sort through all that, and then put in the new stuff, and then put a bunch of stuff on Marketplace. I have like a mountain just of boxes of clothes in my office that was driving me insane. So I finally got around to that. Creatively, I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of scripts that, like I said before, I've had ideas for years and years and years, and I've been avoiding writing them for one reason or another, just because they haven't quite tackled the concept yet,
Mhm.
or it seems a little too advanced for where I am right now. Like, there's a time travel idea that I've had for a long time that I kind of want to get to, but I'm not smart enough to like understand
No
physics
one
of
does
time
time
travel.
travel, right?
What's
I
that?
mean, it's time travel. Just fucking bulldoze over.
Yeah, I kind of want it to be like more of a grounded kind of like based in some kind of pseudoscience stuff. So that's why I've been kind of kicking the can down the road. But I'll get there eventually, maybe next year.
I don't want to take over the conversation, but did anyone understand Tenet? Because I didn't.
Black holes and relativity.
It's been a while since I watched it.
Wait, no, that's
Oh,
no.
Tenet.
You're
Oh,
thinking
I'm
of
thinking of
the
his other one.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the one that. Anyway, it's fine.
yeah, I haven't seen a Tenet.
The time travel's hard to do.
Yeah.
That was my point. So,
All right, Sean, what are your thoughts? What are you avoiding?
My apartment's a mess, and so that's in Japan, in Tokyo, apartments are very small, and I
Mhm.
love going to the. I live very close to Nakano Broadway Mall, which is sort of cultural heart of otaku and nerd culture in Tokyo.
Right.
So I love going to the mall and buying weird Japanese kaiju sofubis or junk that I don't need. But my apartment needs looking after. So, and I'm not proud about that. But yes.
All right. Well, listen, that junk, as you refer to it, is stuff that you need. All right. We all need that stuff. All right.
Well,
Just
thank you. Now that makes me feel better.
you know, it's inspiration, right? Look at Jay with his wall of toys behind him. Right.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
It's life. It keeps you happy. You know what I'm saying? I don't do
Mm.
drugs, right? I'm not a big drinker. I'm married, so you know the amount of extra women in my life are like, right? So that's it. That's it. Comics and toys, man.
Yeah, don't get into trouble, bro. Uh,
She's not watching. Shh.
oh, okay. It should pop in any minute though. Um, Justin, what are your thoughts?
I really need to figure out how to do drywall. That would be a big help. But creatively, I mean, yeah, I'm starting to get back in, but I finished SWAT like maybe 2 years ago at this point. Like I wrote all 36 issues and I was just dead creatively for a long time. Just did not have, I have ideas, but like the motivation to actually sit there and type that stuff out was just gone. So that's coming back. So that's good.
Good.
And then, hopefully I mean, I'm putting off starting development on all these other comics too, because it gets expensive. But hopefully that'll change soon. And, 'cause I'm a bankruptcy lawyer, so things are looking pretty tight for me, economically for the next couple of years. So hopefully I'll be at least able to do something with that.
All right, cool. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say creatively there are a few projects that I just keep revising instead of like pulling in an editor to get them,
Mm.
you know, finished, because like you can just revise over and over and over again. And then like non-creatively, there's always stuff around the house that kind of um, gets put off in order to get other stuff done. So
Okay, that's fair. Jay,
Oh, me. All right. Shit. I don't know. I've been tackling a lot of work recently, which I'm happy with. Right. What do I want to get rid of? The day job. How about that? Can I get rid of the day job so I can spend more time doing what I gotta do here? Right, dude. I was alone today, and I knocked out what would normally amount to like almost 2 weeks worth of work because I only get maybe about an hour or two a day to work on anything. But I'm home alone, and I was just like, right? I finished the third draft on a script. I started a new outline. I I I posted on most social accounts that I have. Got a Substack ready post that I haven't put down in a year. That yeah, okay, that's the thing. Yeah, yeah, trying to keep up that Substack thing. That's a motherfucker, right? Because I don't know what to say. I feel like I feel awkward. I'm not gonna show a plate of, oh, this is what I ate today, right? And writing is not visually stimulating. You can't. What am I gonna show? Act one, page one. Act two, page two. I'm not. You can't really post that. So trying to find out concepts, right? That's trying to get the Substack up and going. Yes, that's what I've been putting off, right? Because you need to keep going. You need to keep reminding people that you're still here. It's not about the promoting of what I've done lately. It's reminding them every day. It's taking the Dick Clark philosophy, right? Dick Clark took the $10,000 pyramid hosting gig for like barely medium wage, just so he could be in everybody's living room on a daily basis and remind them that he is Dick Clark. Right? So keeping up with the social thing, that's reminding people from a writer standpoint that we're still here, that we're still doing stuff, that we still exist, that we haven't given up on our craft. That makes sense?
yeah, yes, it does. For myself, um, what is that?
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I can't. Oh,
All right. For myself, um, I work with a lot of different artists, right? And I give them a lot of latitude with my scripts. And sometimes there'll be areas of the script where I will say, okay, I will describe a section, and I'll go old Marvel style, right? And I'll be like, well, this is a sequence of events that this gonna happen, and then I'll go in and I'll script out. Well, not so much script out, but I'll put in exposition, right, to carry it along. And there's at least two stories when I gotta get to it. I gotta put in all that exposition. So I'm like, oh, I gotta do this, because you gotta get into the headspace of that character, and you gotta be in that moment and be in that section of that character's space. And it's always some freaking weird thing of like somebody traveling through space hunting down space demons or god knows what, and it's like, all right, how do I get in there? All right, let's get in there, but I've been putting that off. I have at least two of those, but I started on one of them today, so I'm gonna that's the next on the docket, so just to get that one out. So yeah, that's what it is for me. Jay,
yeah.
you got another question?
Got 3 questions? Come on, bro. You don't pay me. You don't pay me for this shit. What the fuck, bro? No.
Listen.
All right. Yeah, I do have a third question because I keep notes, baby.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So this is a softball one, right? Is there one book, one comic book, not a show, not a novel, not a magazine, not an HGG TV program that you keep watching over and over again? Is there one comic book that you keep going to as a source for either inspiration, cadence, right? Practice, pacing? Is there one book that you go to just like, okay, this is what's going to get me back to basics. This is what reminds me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, X, Y, and Z.
That's fair. Matt, you're up. You're muted.
One book. Want to say Hellboy, and I guess that's kind of cheating, because that's pretty. It's a lot of books in that series, but yeah, I don't know, and pretty much every time I do a comic, it feels like I'm just kind of imitating Mike Mignola and the Hellboy. Um, I don't know, anywhere from characterizations to, like you said, like the pacing, those kind of cutaway insert panels that he's always adding in there of like, I don't know, blood dropping or something, or like a monkey randomly, um, all that stuff. Yeah, like the tone of that, like yeah. Those are the rare comics. Usually, when I read a comic, I put it on the shelf and kind of never look at it again. But like Mignola, like I have the single issues. I got those big library editions. I got the
Nice.
omnibuses. Like I keep going back and back to that stuff. So maybe that. Also, Louis Riel by Chester Brown. Really good. And I just love the cartooning in that. And I love the 6-panel grid that he uses, and that kind of everything is kind of like overhead long shot. That's something I also kind of really emulate in my, I don't know, my more indie-ish kind of stuff that I do. And yeah, so Mike Mignola and Chester Brown, my go-tos,
Nice.
my guys.
That's fair.
Cool.
Sean.
Yeah, what you guys you have these great questions that are not entirely easy to answer, but I guess I would say, probably my all-time favorite comic is Batman: The Dark Knight Returns. It's the comic I've read the most in my life. I got the trade paperback on a Christmas day in middle school, And so that's one of my all-time favorites. I try to come back to it every few years and read it again. And it's just my all-time favorite comic. So, yeah, that gives me a lot of inspiration, and just being able to pick that up and read that thing again one more time is always a wonderful experience for me.
Thanks.
Cool. Justin, what are your thoughts?
Recently, I've been reading Witch Hat Atelier, which is, I don't remember who it's by, but it's this manga that is really unique in that, especially for Japanese stuff. I feel like usually with manga, it's like a student who's got like this crippling anxiety disorder where they have to monologue for 5 minutes about how pathetic they are before they do anything, and that kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
This is it's just nice people, and things happen, and it's interesting, but most of the characters are like genuinely like each other, and you like them, and I'm not sure which one he's referring to, but that one's been a lot of inspiration. I feel like it kind of inspired me on a lot of levels, but I've been kind of wanting to do. I don't know why there isn't more like an American style. I feel like we'd have more access to kids if it wasn't like an absurdly expensive hobby on printing costs alone, right? I feel like that's a big part of why manga's blowing up and it's taking up like 6% of the market now, is because you don't have to blow $100 to, every time you go to the store for that. So that on a practical level, that was inspiring because the art's really amazing. But I mean, that one's been a recent thing that I feel like has expanded my concept of it. I know I'm not supposed to say this now, but Sandman was a huge influence in the 90s. And so that's kind of, honestly, I think it still is pretty much unique in my mind for being that long and staying that weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it was very consistent.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not endorsing anything, but that was a comic that stuck with. I mean, that was really the only graphic novel I knew existed in the 90s, right? So that was like my only experience with it. But in terms of current writer, like James Tynion, I that's an instant buy for me. I think Department of Truth is really unique, and that people will be reading that for a long time. And Assorted Crisis Events. I don't know if you guys have been reading that. I think it's by Dennis Camp. That thing is it's really impressive. So that's it's stuff that's been inspiring me lately.
Okay. Cool. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'd say like my go-to answer for this generally is, or this type of question is, like Brian K. Vaughan and particularly Saga. It's one of my favorite pieces of any medium for the last last decade. So I haven't picked up more than the first couple of issues post hiatus. So if anybody's going to discuss anything post hiatus, just don't spoil anything for me. But I love that book. And then I'd also, kind of on a note similar to Matt, I'll pick BPRD just so I don't also say Hellboy, because I just really enjoy the world building that happens there, and it's really inspirational for me. And then to pick one a little bit more left field, one that I go back to periodically that I think is just really creative. It's an Alan Moore book, Top 10. That one, the mix of art and then story in that one is just really, really good. And I think the pacing in it is really inspirational, as well as just the world building that he does with that story.
Cool. Derek, what are your thoughts?
So I'll make Justin feel a little bit better. Sandman is still one of my favorite books. I think that you can kind of separate the art from the artist a bit, especially if it's something that's so far in the past from what has come out. But to be very honest, I think the thing that I keep coming back to, and that has made a big impact on my life, Jeff Smith's Bone. I started reading that as a kid, and I didn't read the full thing until I was an adult. But then the pacing and just the characterization of like all of the different characters that would come in and out of the story, I was hooked for that entire book, and I think it's just so wonderfully well done, especially for something that is still I would say all ages, even though there were some people that got offended by like smoking and gambling in a couple of books. But I still think that it's just a master class on how to do an indie book the right way.
That's fair. It's a tough question, man, because it's like I got 40 different answers.
Pick one. Pick two. Pick two.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give old school and new school. How's that sound?
Okay.
Old school. Frank Miller's Daredevil. And when I say Daredevil, I mean the whole damn run. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. Right? Probably Walter Simon's Thor. And then newer school would be Bill Willingham's Fables, Warren Ellis's Planetary, and Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman.
I said two. Really?
There was two. There was two errors. Two errors. Old school, new school.
Does Sin City hold up? I haven't read it in a long time.
I think artistically it does. I haven't, but again, I haven't read it as well either, and it's been a while. Yeah, I probably have to go back and
Been
reread
a long
it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. Although I read Martha Washington not too long ago, and I enjoyed that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Jay, answer your question.
All right. So old school. I'm gonna go with Matt Wagner's Mage. Right. Dealing with the Arthurian legend. Hello. Hi. The Interceptor's going that way. Dealing with the Arthurian legend, and humanity. Right. And he grows up. Right. In the three minis, he grows up, dude. He has a family. Fucking great. Right. I know it sounds weird, but I really wish the new Ultimate Peter Parker was part of the regular universe, right? Having the family, god damn it, right? They're missing the boat on that, man. They really are. But then when I go back to over and over again, I got the first collected hardcover of Invincible, and it collects the first 12 issues, but it also has his pitches. It has sketch concepts. It has scripts. So it's a great way to mirror down, place it side by side with the first issue. See what the artist edited out, right? And see what, the writer doubled down on after he got the art back. Reminds me of why this is such a beautiful mess of a collaboration when it comes to making comics, but then the fun of it also, you got a chibi gallery in there for toys that are never going to be made, but it's cute, it's funny, it's kitschy. I like the hokiness, right? I do. I'm a mark for that stuff. So I see that, right, as a trade, and I think of it also as how to package a reward for a Kickstarter, right? I look at it also as like a DVD, right? You would get it when wow, we're old, right? If I'm saying DVDs, Blu-rays, they don't even fucking make them, right? But you would have the special collector's editions, right? That would have all these other little tchotchkes inside the package, and it's like, okay, he did that with the trade. He had all these little other tchotchkes inside of that collection. So how can I use that when I start to build a reward?
All right. Cool. All right, gentlemen, we made it to hour 2. So thank you so much. You guys are all awesome. So please, let's start with Matt. Matt, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, Kickstarter is probably the best place to go. So just type in Matt McGrath into Kickstarter or Journey into the Abyss, and you'll see my stuff. And I'm on Blue Sky as well. I'm at stupid Matt at bsky.social. I can't remember the weird Blue Sky thing, but yeah, you can find that's where I'm most active. So check me out there.
All right, cool. Sean, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Well, you can always read Dose Comics at dosecomics.com. So you can all the back issues are on there for free, and we've got them in Japanese too, if you want to read comics in Japanese. And on Kickstarter right now, of course. So.
All right, cool. Justin?
Justin Coke .bsky whatever. I'm on Facebook, but honestly, Blue Sky is where I would actually, post if anybody cares. Not on Twitter anymore at all, So it's just Blue Sky.
Gotcha. Chris, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Sure. Website is cbrimmage.com, and then Instagram, Chris_Brimmage_author, and then TikTok, you just flip it the other way, author_Chris_Brimmage.
All right, cool. Derek?
I'm terrible when it comes to social media. I pretty much just have like an Instagram, but it's just Derek L. Chase on pretty much anything that I do. So Kickstarter, in terms of the work, I think on my Instagram, I have like a link tree like in my profile, so you can find all the other stuff that I do, which isn't a whole lot. I do have another podcast, but it's on hiatus right now because I've had an insane amount of stuff to do. But I would just say Instagram and Kickstarter, Derek L. Chase, you'll find me.
All right, cool. Jay?
UnstoppableComics.com. You can find all my social media links on the website. And then on Fridays, you can find me on YouTube, Comic Book Streamland. You guys are welcome to jump on the show when you are looking to pitch, or just shoot the shit. It's nothing major. It's just a bunch of creators hanging out, talking shop. But not this Friday. This Friday, I'm going to be launching the book, so we got a special thing planned for that live stream. But any other Friday, come on through, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then Sundays with this guy sometimes. And again, Friday, launching Shield of the Interceptor number 6 on Kickstarter.
All right, cool. Jay, I think we should just have everybody on this Friday on your show.
No.
Yeah, just bring everybody on.
Cycle them in. I got trivia coming. If you guys want to get down with Geek Trivia Night, let's go.
Yeah.
Tom needs to be unseated.
Yeah, somebody please. Chris, unseat him. But yes, you can find me on theoswaldchronicles.com, dreamweaverpress.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those different places under JD Calderon. But most importantly, in about a month, again, back on Kickstarter with Dreamweavers and the Oswald Chronicles. And just remember, everybody, please, check out the show notes, because in those show notes is everybody's links to all of these creators' works. And all of these creators are doing fantastic work, all right? So please, click on those links and pick up some books, because these creators are really knocking it out the park. They're doing fantastic work. So please, go pick up a book. Thank you, everyone. And just remember, everybody, read more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Later.
Later.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.